Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Pain has a way of leaving scars, some visible, some buried deep. But what if your scars became your strength? In this impactful episode of Girl Talk Mental Health, we invite you into a real, raw, and redemptive story of turning heartache into healing and purpose. You'll walk away inspired, equipped, and ready to turn your own pain into purpose. So join us today as we have our special guest, Toni Lashaun, as she shares how she transformed her trauma into triumph and how you can too. So let's welcome our special guest.
Hello.
All right, tell us a little bit about your awesome self.
I'm Toni Lashaun Wortherly. I go by Toni Lashaun as a singer and songwriter. I'm also a speaker and a mental health advocate, as well as the worship leader at my church. My main emphasis right now in life is helping people find their strength in their stories and navigating things like anxiety, faith, identity. I've turned my own lifelong battle with anxiety into a platform for purpose and have started speaking out to help other people know that they're not alone, because I believe that vulnerability truly is a superpower, and I'm honored to share the hope that I've found wherever I go.
That's awesome. Thank you for joining us today. So, are you ready for some impact?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, when you were at one of your lowest moments, what kept you from giving up? And did you always believe that your purpose could come out of your pain?
So, when I have been at my lowest moments, because I've had a few, um, the thing that has held me together most of all has been my faith. Even though sometimes my struggles were because I felt like I was letting God down, my faith is the thing that has kept me going. The next things that's kept me going is my family. Especially as I got older and I started to have nieces and nephews. So there's been a couple of times in my life where things have gotten so low where I felt like, do I even belong here anymore? Is there even a purpose for my life?
Mhm.
And in those moments, just thinking about my nieces and my nephews and thinking about the impact that I'm able to have on their lives has been something that has kept me going. So definitely faith and family have kept me going. I did not see that there was a purpose to the pain. It was hard on a lot of occasions to see how there could possibly be any reason for the things that I was going through.
Facts.
And so there have been times, like I said, where I've thought, like, should I even be here anymore? If you are picking up what I'm putting down. And so,
Absolutely. This is what we about. This is Girl Talk
yeah.
Mental Health. Yeah.
So I've learned over the years, whether it be in my journey through singleness, whether it be in the mental health issues that I've had to battle, I have learned there's always a purpose in our pain. There was a verse that I came upon, and it was kind of in my mid 20s in Second Corinthians. And it's in chapter 1, and it's been one of my life verses.
Mhm.
And it talks about how God comforts us so that we can comfort others
Mm.
with the comfort with which he comforts us.
Mhm.
So anytime I started to ask, why is this happening? Why am I going through this? What is the purpose of all of this? I always go back to that verse because the purpose in our pain is that there are other people who need to hear that story, who need to hear that testimony, not to boost us up, but to point them back to God and to
Mm,
give them the hope that only He can actually give them.
mm,
That's the thing. I've tried to fill my life with people, places, things, achievements, perfection, accolades, all these things. Nothing's ever enough because there's only one person that can fill the voids that I have in my life, and that's God. And
mm,
so I have learned over the years that anytime I'm going through something, it's not just about me. And for a long time, I tried to hide everything that I was going through, which I'm not great at all the time because, as my friends will tell you, my face will always give it
Tell
away
the
if I'm
story.
going through something. But, I tried to hide things, and now I've just started stepping out and being more vulnerable and being bold. I've always kind of been an open book in the sense that I'm not afraid to share my story and
Mhm,
share kind of the good parts and the outcomes. But now, through my journey in the past couple of years, I'm sharing a lot more of the ugly parts too, because I know there are people that are out there that feel like they're all alone and
mhm,
that no one else is experiencing what they're experiencing. And I know that because I was there.
mhm.
And so, yeah, the purpose and the pain, I learned that it's because there are other people that
Yeah,
need
that's
to hear your
good.
story.
It's important to have that foundation, whatever your faith is. I don't try to steer people in certain directions, but I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ and all of that thing. But whatever your foundation is, it does start from that as well. And when I was younger, my Bible, my verse that I always went to, especially as I was trying to strengthen my faith, is that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he led me to a book, the purpose driven book. It's faith based as well, but that book really helped me identify, like, girl, all this stuff you doing and running yourself in the ground and taking care of kids. I was on a hamster wheel, work school kids. I was just you know and I'm like, wait a minute, it have to be something. I'm doing the right things, but it has to be something better and deeper and more. Like, I don't feel fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go to him. Like, he was like, I will lead you. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that faith base is stronger than what some people give it credit for, because they
Yeah.
always, like you said, they run into purpose, people, places, and things for their fulfillment. And that is not where it's at. Because he's gonna bring the right people, the right places, the right things, the right everything's to you. But when you try to do it on your own, uh-uh.
No bueno.
Mhm. So that kind of bridges into the next point for us to discuss, and that is, how did your faith, and you told us a little bit already, and your inner butterfly voice speak to you when you felt most broken?
So, music has always been a huge part of my life. Some of my earliest memories are like singing around the house with my parents and my sister when I was younger. And there's a particular songwriter and artist, Walter Hawkins, that his songs always just stuck with me. And a lot of them that I know were written and sung before I was even born. But my parents used to listen to the albums all the time when I was younger. And Tremaine Hawkins, her voice just always was a very like calming force for me. And I always really identified with her voice. So, like at my lowest point, when I was just barely 18 and I was in college, far away from home. I was homesick and I was also physically sick. And I just got to a point one night where I was just ready to end it all. And I poured out some pills in my hand. I didn't necessarily think I wanted to end my life, but I knew I wanted to end the pain that I was in.
Mhm.
And I knew that like if I took a handful of those pills, I would just sleep for like a long time. I was just
Mhm.
like I could just shut everything out. And so I like poured out the pills, and then all of a sudden, like in the back of my mind, I started hearing the song He's That Kind of Friend by Tremaine Hawkins. And it just stopped me dead in my tracks. Like, what am I doing? because even if my family's not around, even if my friends aren't around, even if I'm not quite sure what I'm doing where I am right now, and this is not how I wanted my life to look, like I still have Jesus. And I knew that it was just an attack of the enemy, because there was like a greater purpose for my life. That song coming to mind, like the first line of the song is, "If you ever need a friend that sticks closer than any brother, I recommend Jesus." And that just, like I said, stopped me in my tracks because it helped me to remember the foundations of my faith. It helped me to remember that even though when I can't see the purpose of what I'm going through, or when I can't even see a purpose for my life, like God created me for a purpose, on purpose. I'm not a mistake. I'm here for a reason. Anything that's going on within me or around me, there's a reason for that too. And God's going to work it all together for my good. And so that was that kind of moment where I was really broken, and it was a combination of faith and inner voice, because that song, growing up around gospel music, and that song is based on faith, but that music was always in me from a little child, and that came up as I was, contemplating doing something very dangerous.
Was that the moment that changed everything, or was there another moment you think that changed everything?
Honestly, this has been an up and down situation, a roller coaster. I've been dealing with anxiety as far back as I can remember, from like 3 years old.
Hmm.
We didn't call it that back then. I didn't know it was anxiety until 20 years later, when I finally got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And so I've been through therapy and medication, and then going back to doing nothing, because why am I doing therapy and medication when I have this faith background? I just need to pray harder. I just need to read more. I just need to study more. I need to seek God more. And so I've gone back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But about a year and a half ago, I was I was in a really bad place. I was angry all the time. I couldn't sleep. There was just a lot of things going on, and my mom actually said to me, "Listen, you need to go back to therapy. Like, I know you don't want to be on medication again. I know you're trying to do this on your own, but you need to find a therapist, and you need to go back to therapy." And for my mom to say that to me was like very jarring, because my mom's like one of my best friends, and she is very like honest and forthcoming with me, but she knew how I felt about therapy because she's been there with me on all of my therapy journeys. And I've only in my whole life had two therapists that I ever liked.
Hmm.
so,
Yeah. Hmm. That's the
so
key.
I was like, I'm scared of going back to therapy, because the last time I tried it, like, it didn't go well. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I prayed, Lord, I need you to help me find a therapist. I need you to help me find a therapist that is going to treat what needs to be treated. I need you to find a therapist that is going to be just very blunt with me, because that gets my attention.
Hmm.
Someone who's not going to allow me to manipulate the situation, because I'm very good at doing that. I'm very good at making people think that I'm okay when I'm not. And
Hmm.
so I needed someone who was going to be able to cut through that, and who was going to be able to like call me out on my stuff, um, and really like help me and inspire me to actually do the work. And so it was literally like her saying those words. I had thought it a bunch of times, but her actually saying, like, this is enough. Like, this has gone on too long.
Hmm.
You need to find a therapist. You need to get back into therapy. And that was like that step that
Hmm.
really changed everything, because this time the first time with the first therapist that I liked, that was about getting a diagnosis and understanding what was going on in my mind.
Uh-huh.
Had been like 20 years prior to that.
Mm.
This time was about learning some practical tips and tools and steps that I could use on a daily basis to really battle this thing, and no longer have it be my identity, right? Like,
Mm. Mm.
knowing I have anxiety, but anxiety doesn't have me. And that's
Right.
what this round of therapy was about,
Right. You controlling it and it not controlling you.
right?
Good. Well, if you're watching this and you've been feeling like you're in pain and the pain is pointless, this is your sign. that it's not. So stay with us. We usually have a commercial break, but our songstress has agreed to be the commercial today. So you all listen and tune in while she blesses us with her voice and listen to what she's saying and some of the messages behind it because it's something more to your healing and your hope is coming. So take it away, ma'am.
Why do I complain as if you don't care and act like you're not always here? You don't run and hide. You've seen every obstacle I'll face. You're the compass that helps me navigate. So I'll wait and I'll place my trust in you. In you. You help me stand with stability. Walk and not get weary. Run with a faith restored and energy to endure. You give me strength to soar. You give me strength to soar.
Oh, you got me with some chills over here, child. That was awesome. Thank you. You have a beautiful voice. See, that's God. Sometimes even that pain made that purpose come out even more. Do you feel like you started singing more when you started healing and started reaching more into your purpose and your pain and asking God, like, what is this about and everything?
So like I said, I've been singing for a long time. Music has always been a part of me. I started writing music when I was a teenager. When I was in my early 20s, I was like, well, maybe I'll put some music out there. And then the more I thought about it, like I'm so introverted, I was like, no, I think I just want to be in the background, just writing music. So a lot of my writing does come from my experiences, just in daily things, daily life, walking through life, being a woman of faith, turning to God and listening for his answers, using scriptures to inspire me on a daily basis. So I kept writing and kept writing. And the song that I just sang, Strength to Soar, that song came to me in a time where I was down, I was depressed, I was grieving the loss of my grandfather, I was grieving the loss of a lot of people who passed away during the pandemic. And I didn't really know how to deal with my feelings. So I dealt with them the best way I knew how, which was to write. And the Holy Spirit led me to the verse in Isaiah 40 and 31, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. And I really read that verse resonated with me because it broke things down into steps. Like I kept feeling like I had to get all the way up in order to heal. But in that verse, it says like you walk or you run
Lord.
and then you fly. And like those steps kind of it was like, okay, so on days when all I can do is crawl, then I crawl. On days when all I can do is walk, then I walk. On days when I can run, I run. And eventually I'll feel like I can take flight again. But I just have to keep getting up every day and doing what I can do on that day. Right. So the music and the writing brought me back. And I sang that song in my church. And there was a tangible shift that you could feel. It was like you could feel people being set free almost from like that bondage of trying to keep it all together and being able to recognize like my strength doesn't have to just come from me. And so I got with my friend who produced the track for the song for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to release this one song, just this one. That's it. Like, because I feel like people need this song. And then releasing that one song became releasing an EP.
So what's the name of the song again? What's the name?
The song is called Strength to Soar, and that's actually the
Okay.
name of the EP that it's on.
Okay.
And every song on that EP, there's 5 songs on that EP, Strength to Soar, and all of them, like I said, are from my experiences that I've had in battling with mental health issues, in waiting on the Lord, in going to God about my faith and whether my faith was strong enough, and finding my identity in Christ. Like, all of the songs are about just that journey that I've been through throughout my lifetime, and just finding my purpose and my identity in Christ.
That's good. So make sure you in your description that you your bio that you send that you attach the link and send it to me as well because I want to buy it. I could put it on my listen list. My gospel listen list because I have a list and I like to listen to certain songs. So yeah, I want to support that. So for the people who are watching right now who feels invisible and exhausting from trying to hold it all together and don't know what their purpose is and the whys behind the pain, what would you tell him or her to help them begin again?
So I came up with kind of a summary of everything that I learned in therapy. And I believe that it will not only help with anxiety, but it will also help with like any kind of negative emotions that are coming up where they feel like they're controlling you. So I call it my 3 steps for battling anxiety, but you can insert any kind of negative emotion in there for anxiety. So the first step is to listen. One of my biggest issues was that I never wanted to listen to what my mind was telling me because I was like, my mind is a crazy place that comes up with crazy scenarios, and I don't want to be a part of that. So I just used to try to drown out my thoughts. In therapy, I was not allowed to do that. I had to talk about what I was thinking about, which was so painful and so wild because my brain comes up with some really crazy things. That is part of generalized anxiety disorder. My brain comes up with crazy and catastrophic things. But by listening to what I was actually thinking, it helped me to spot what was true and what was untrue, what was likely to happen and what was very unlikely to happen. And so, although my brain is very intelligent and very creative and very imaginative, my brain was wrong a lot, a lot of the time. But I would have never known that if I didn't stop to listen to the thoughts that I was having.
That's
So
good.
then the second thing after listening is to learn. I had to say, okay, why am I thinking all of these thoughts? Why am I going down this rabbit hole, down this thought pattern that's taking me to this really anxious place? What I learned in that season of my life was that I was not allowing myself to grieve properly. And it wasn't just about people who I loved that had passed away. It was about being at that time 45 and looking at my life, and my life didn't look like what I had imagined it would look like when I was 45. And I did not allow myself to grieve what I thought my life would be versus what it actually is, because I felt like that was me being ungrateful. I felt like that was me not being thankful to God for everything that He has given me if I
Mhm.
took the time out to grieve what I thought I would have that I don't have. And so my therapist kind of helped me through that step of like, you're the reason you feel the way that you do, the reason you're having these thoughts is because you're afraid of being excluded and you're afraid of being abandoned. And those feelings of exclusion and those feelings of abandonment came from losing people and from not having the life that I had pictured. I felt like I was being left out from being a wife. I felt like I was being left out from being a mother, and so that had kind of permeated its way through other parts of my life and kind of painted an ugly picture in my mind of what my life was. But through listening and learning, that I was able to get to my third step, which is limiting that feeling. First of all, emotions and feelings were given to us by God. He made us that way to feel things. Even the negative feelings that we have, like fear and anxiety, those things are pointing us to something else. They're a symptom of something else, right? So it's not bad to have those feelings. Again, it's bad to let those feelings have you, to let them have control over you. So to limit my anxiety, the things that I do is when it's just your regular everyday anxiety, I kind of confront it with the truth and with gratitude.
Mhm.
Um, Gratitude is a huge one. I used to be so scared of the verse in Philippians 4:6 where it says, be anxious for nothing, because I was anxious all the time. And I thought I was letting God down every single day of my life for being anxious. But I never read through the rest of the verse. The rest of the verse said, but in everything with prayer and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. And so the key, the antidote to anxiety is prayer and thanksgiving. Tell God everything. Thank God for everything. I
Mhm.
don't see it in a way maybe that I should be thankful for yet, but because I know what I know of who God is, I can
Mhm.
thank him in advance for what
Because it's
he's
coming.
going to do. Right. It's on the way. Whatever he has planned, I know it's working out for his glory and my good. And so I can go ahead and be thankful now. If I'm in a really bad place, which still happens sometimes where I start to feel like I'm having a panic attack or anxiety attack, then I use grounding. So, like, grounding and gratitude are my two things. The type of grounding that works for me is just putting my attention on what is in the now, coming back to now. And so sometimes I do that through the five senses exercise, where you name five things you see, and four things you hear, and three things you smell, and that kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
and sometimes I really just say to myself, "Okay, come back to now, come back to now." Because
Mhm.
if I'm getting anxious, it's because I'm thinking about all the things that are going to happen down the line, and I'm not focused on what's actually going on around me right now.
Yeah, that's good. So we had my favorite part of the show, and it's the speaker spotlight. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, you're giving us so many awesome thoughts and ideas already. But what's one mindset shift or action step you believe could transform how we approach mental health in our daily lives?
One thing that we can do to transform our daily lives and our mental health and wellness is normalize noticing. Every time my therapist said the word notice, I wanted to like throat punch him, but he was right. Okay. So he was like, I need you to notice what's going on. A lot of times we brush past things. We brush because we're like, that's not a big deal, or that's not a huge win, or that's not, that's not what I expected.
Enough, yeah.
Right. We kind of blow things off, but we need to notice the changes that happen within us. We need to normalize checking in with ourselves, asking, what do I need right now? What's going on with me right now? Spiritually, mentally, physically, and being able to respond to that question without guilt and actually taking care of ourselves. We need to notice when there's been a shift or a change and we're moving in the right direction, whether it's a small step or a huge step. We need to notice that. And we need to understand what got us there so that we can keep moving in that direction. So that has been one of the biggest mindset shifts for me, is taking time to sit back. I have quiet time every day, every single day, built into my day.
Mhm.
And, I use it for reading and studying and prayer, but I also just kind of get quiet and like notice, just take some time to notice what's going on with me. When someone's saying, how are you? Not just saying, okay,
Mhm.
because it's that or fine. And like
Mhm.
actually telling people how I am, which scares some people, but the right
Yeah,
people will get it and they'll be
right.
there for you.
That's good. So let the audience know where they can connect with you, and if you have some type of event or special offer for them, share that as well.
So you can connect with me on my website. It's tonilashaunmusic.com. That's ToniLashaun music.com. I'm on social media on Facebook, Instagram as Toni Lashaun Music, and then I'm also on YouTube as Toni Lashaun, where you can check out my music, any upcoming speaking events that I have. I am a part of the Christian Mental Health Initiative symposium. It's their third annual symposium next Saturday from 10 to 2 on Eastern Time. And the registration for that is still ongoing. It's completely free. It's an online symposium where they will be talking about all of the facets of health, mental health, and faith. You can find information about registering that on my social media sites. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you will get a free download of my Don't You Worry devotional that I've written based on my song, Don't You Worry.
Okay, well, thank you. So, if this episode touched your heart, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who needs it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go and find Toni Lashaun. Tap into what she has. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you have going on because you do not have to do this. And so, until next week, y'all be safe, be peaceful, and check out your mental health. So, see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.